Hello, I'm Justine Green with the BBC News. There's been a widespread welcome for the biggest overhaul of the international corporate tax system in decades. The German finance minister Olaf Scholz described the agreement reached in Paris after years of negotiations as an important step towards tax justice. 136 countries backed the accord, under which the largest multinationals will pay a minimum tax rate of 15%. But Alex Cobham of the Tax Justice Network Advocacy Group says the deal has shortcomings.
If a US multinational is shifting profits out of, let's say, Brazil into zero-tax Bermuda, it won't be Brazil that gets to top up the tax on those profits. It will be the US. So Brazil will still suffer the same profit shifting, but the US will get more revenue.
Donald Trump has been accused of trying to hide nearly $4 million of payments from foreign governments at his Washington, D.C. hotel during his years in power. Mr. Trump's lawyers have previously denied there was any wrongdoing. Here's Nomia Iqbal.
This is the first time that congressional investigators have reviewed and released details of Mr. Trump's finances while he was in the White House. And they say the information presents a huge conflict of interest. They say the documents show that Donald Trump said his hotel in downtown D.C. made $150 million during his term as president, but it actually incurred losses of more than $70 million. He's also accused of receiving nearly $4 million from foreign governments and of getting preferential treatment from Deutsche Bank, which had previously given Mr. Trump a huge loan to renovate the hotel.
The United States and Mexico have hailed a new stage in relations between them during a visit by the American Secretary of State Antony Blinken. The two sides are embarking on an updated security deal, replacing a previous accord known as the Merida Agreement to tackle drug smuggling, violence and the root causes of migration to the US. Mr. Blinken said it was a pivotal moment.
After 13 years of the Merida Initiative, it's time for a comprehensive new approach to our security cooperation, one that will see us as equal partners in defining our shared priorities, tackle the root drivers of these challenges, like inequity, like corruption.
Earlier, Mexican police intercepted a convoy of cargo trucks with more than 650 Central American migrants on board, mainly Guatemalan nationals. Police in Nigeria say they've rescued close to 50 people who were being held in deplorable conditions in a rehabilitation centre in the northern state of Kano. The inmates were male, between the age of 14 and 35. The police said they were all in chains and showed signs of having been beaten. A police spokesman said the owner and manager had been arrested. World News from the BBC. Brazil has become only the second country after the United States to register more than 600,000 coronavirus-related deaths. Critics say tens of thousands of fatalities could have been avoided if President Jair Bolsonaro hadn't opposed lockdown measures and delayed the purchase of vaccines. The pace of the vaccination program has now accelerated. Almost half the Brazilian population have received 2 jabs. Saudi Arabia says a drone carrying explosives has been used to target the airport in the city of Jizan near the border with Yemen. According to the state news agency, 5 airport staff and passengers were hurt. Houthi rebels in Yemen have frequently launched cross-border attacks against Saudi Arabia, which backs Yemen's government in the country's civil war. France has threatened to reduce electricity supplies to the British Crown dependency of Jersey amid fresh tensions over post-Brexit fishing rights. Its Europe Minister Clement Beaune said France had applied for 450 licences for its fishermen to access British waters, but had only been granted half that number. Lucy Williamson reports from Paris.
Fishing rights have been a source of tension for years, but Brexit has sharpened divisions, with European fishermen asked to prove their connections to UK waters. Some small French boats say they're not equipped to provide that proof. France has accused Britain of not living up to its own post-Brexit agreement. Next week, EU ministers will meet in Luxembourg to discuss their response, as politicians on both sides of the Channel point to the waters that separate Britain and France.
The International Organization for Migration says more than 7,500 Haitian nationals have been deported from the US in the past 3 weeks. According to the IOM, the US has chartered 70 flights to Port-au-Prince since mid-September. The expulsion of Haitian citizens had been suspended. BBC News.